2019. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. My name is Jessica Cruz. I'm the CEO of a company called InLookIt. We're redefining the way that women purchase makeup through AI. We're over in Playa Vista. Today I'm going to be talking about the skills that companies will be looking for the next generation of tech and in jobs in general. The way I'm going to present the information will first be talking about soft skills that will be needed and tying those soft skills into the hard skills, and then demonstrating how they work together and providing examples of jobs that use an integration of both the soft and hard skills. I want to make a clear distinction, what I mean between hard skills and soft skills. So hard skills are going to be those skills that we acquire through specific training, specific degrees, specific education, technical knowledge. And soft skills are going to be the skills that you develop through character, right? Such as communication, management, patience, flexibility, work ethic. These are skills that have no technical way to do them, yet still make up a substantial amount of cognitive load. So let's get started. Okay, so soft skills, hard skills. Okay. Hi, welcome. So automation of jobs has already begun, right? We see more of this. We see more and more jobs being taken over by machines, whether that's at fast food restaurants or automated checkout services. You know, at Target, at Walmart, I see a lot of this. We see automated driving being tested extensively. Truck drivers will soon be replaced by self-driving cars, 16-wheelers, and soon to follow be delivery services. Bots that can be programmed into websites are replacing salespeople, such as customer service call centers and automated chat services. So, with this current trend, we'll see about 40% of jobs being automated by 2025. And instead of looking at this negatively, let's try to reframe what is happening. If we think of where technology is going and the innovations in industries that is happening, we see a trend where technology is creating a safer, more pleasant environment by removing jobs that are boring, dangerous, or dirty. So I want to use an example such as coal mining, right? Coal mining is being replaced by more sophisticated machinery that is empowering a safer, more robust workflow. So instead of thinking of machines as taking away jobs, let's try to think of technology as a helping hand in keeping people safe. Therefore, less people are required to perform a task that was once arduous and required a lot of manpower, and ultimately put people in dangerous work environments. So if we spin this idea on its head, that machines are taking away jobs from people, and instead interpret it as machines assisting us in our work environments, making our work environments easier and safer, we can identify where human labor is still needed. So what can we do? Obviously there's certain characteristics or human qualities that machines will never be able to replace, such as critical thinking, creativity, empathy, communication, strategy, imagination, and vision. So if we understand that machines will replace jobs that we presume to be boring, dangerous, or dirty, and we understand that machines can't replace human qualities such as critical thinking and strategy, then we need to find the middle ground, right? Where is that gray area in between the dangerous or boring jobs that machines will eventually do for us, and that area where human brain power is still needed to guide these machines to produce more value for the companies we work for and build. So soft skills of the future of tech. One of the most important soft skills, I think, to really get comfortable with and adopt is the ability to be a lifelong learner. So there was a study done by McKinsey which concluded a link between job automation and the investment in education. The less a person spends on their education, the more likely the job is to be replaced by machines. Hence the need to adopt a lifelong learning mindset. So let me explain a little bit about what I mean. It's no longer just about getting a college degree, right? So you need to take that vocational class, take the course on the weekend, take the workshop, go to that weekend seminar. I know plenty of vocational coding boot camps here in LA offering different courses in machine learning or agile training, marketing classes, content creation classes. I think you can even take some of these classes online. So lifelong learning is about reading books, right? Constantly talking to people, asking questions, and being open to new ideas. The ability to compile knowledge through different resources, whether that be a formal education or a series of vocational classes, we can use this knowledge we gather over time to make more educated decisions in our organizations. So the ability to adapt is the next soft skill I want to cover. sounds simple, but sometimes we see this with people we know. They have viewpoints about something, or they do something a certain way for a long period of time. A new technology comes out, maybe they don't adopt it really quickly, they're very stubborn in adopting the new technology, not knowing it could really actually make their lives easier. I run a technology company here up in Playa Vista, a startup, and it could be something as simple as moving your desk to another location, right? The people who complain or don't quickly just settle in and get to work, understanding that it's a startup company, the ability to make inferences about your environment and your stimuli and adjust accordingly can make people feel uncomfortable. And it's important to start thinking about this now, because you'll probably work for a small company down the road, and you'll learn that they need to be nimble and work with what they have and within budgets. Okay, so the next soft skill is empathy and intuition. This is an interesting soft skill. Many jobs, such as doctors or nurses, who check our blood pressure, could easily be replaced by robots. But it's the human interaction, the human touch, that can be replaced. And nowhere in the foreseeable future do we see machines taking over jobs that require this human interaction and human touch. So look for opportunities where empathy and emotion is involved. For example, sales. Many people fear the idea of salespeople. They think it's largely an emotional thing, if you think about it, right? It requires a salesperson to share empathy with the person that they're speaking to, and intuition to see where the conversation is going and steer it in the direction they want, right? So some examples of jobs that require empathy include teachers, nurses, yoga instructors, massage therapists, social workers, and life coaches. These are all examples of jobs that probably won't be replaced in the future. Cross-culture competency. So this is the ability to understand people from different cultures, right? We live in an environment now where you can easily hire people from across the globe to do your coding or design work, right? And so you have to be effective in your interactions with people from mostly any culture. The more connected we become, the more we find ourselves interacting with people from all over the world. I know for us, our development team originally started out of Germany. We had designers out of India and Pakistan, and there's definitely a language barrier, maybe a culture barrier, definitely a time difference barrier. So the ability to be open to new ideas or how people interact, I think, is really important. So a lot of companies are building networks with designers and coders, executives from across the nation, and they're building incredible companies. This is especially true for people who plan to travel and do freelance work from their computers, right? So the ability to be patient and willing to understand people from different cultures and backgrounds, this is a key soft skill for the future. So high-level cognitive skills. To be able to execute decisions at a high level means to stay focused and critical. The idea here is that some types of learning require more cognitive processing. There's a funnel, an acronym we can use to better understand what higher level cognitive skills are. It's HOTS, higher order thinking skills. So we start right with creating, evaluating, and analyzing the information. First, we create something, we come up with a concept, right? We make assumptions about our hypothesis, and we want to break down those assumptions into component parts. As we move through the funnel, the ability to apply the different frameworks and accept the ideas we come to conclude. And then we want to understand the data or the information, what it's telling us. And then we want to remember what the data is telling us so we can make decisions in our organizations. Whether you head a division and you're observing the people that work in your division and you're making a hypothesis, concluding that hypothesis, then saying, okay, based on what I'm seeing, we need to do this, or we need to move the desks like this, or we should have this sort of workflow. So I think it's really important. Machines, they can't, as humans, we can pull from different resources of knowledge to make decisions, and machines won't be able to do that. So that's kind of what I mean by high-level cognitive skills. So high-level cognitive skills is a perfect example of a skill that is the intersection of where machines can do the boring or not so fun work of like collecting data, for example. But to make high-level decisions, we still need to be able to pull from different resources of knowledge we have accumulated and synthesize the information to make informed decisions, something a machine will never be able to be programmed to do. Sometimes I hear young people talking or asked about like cognitive thinking or creative thinking as a skill. This was very confusing for me for a long time. But if we again reframe how we view technology in the workforce and try to view it as something that's going to help us streamline our workflow instead of taking away from our work, it becomes very clear where human intellect and cognitive abilities present themselves. So our last soft skill that we're going to discuss is complex problem solving. So this is a little different than higher level cognitive skills in that this skill ties into this skill, which ties into higher level cognitive thinking. Complex problem solving often is difficult because of social complexities. So let's take climate change, for example. There's a wide scientific agreement that the need to reduce our carbon emissions, and technically this is not difficult to achieve, but socially and politically it is proving much more difficult, right? So we see complex problem solving deals much more with the ability to manage people, whereas high-level cognitive skills is more technical. So some variables that differ between the two include uncertainty of outcome, complexity, no formal way of solving the particular problem. For example, high-level cognitive thinking requires specific knowledge, whereas complex problem solving can come from a variety of knowledge, more experience-based. For example, when managing people, a team, whether that's a startup or a division at a company, there's no cookie-cutter way to manage people, right? We all have different personalities, we all come from different backgrounds. This is where complex problem solving comes into play versus high-level cognitive thinking. So think team management, team building, management of people, critical skill for the next generation of jobs. So let's recap some of the soft skills that we discussed. Lifelong learning as a mindset, adaptability, the ability to adapt, be accepting of change, whether that's within your organization or a life circumstance, right? Cross-cultural competency, we're now more connected as a world, and thus we need to learn to work together. High-level cognitive skills, which is specific training, and then mixing that specific training with more abstract, complex problem solving, such as management of people. So let's talk about some of the hard skills, and then we can tie in the soft skills with the hard skills, and you can kind of see how it comes full circle. So, interpreting data to make decisions, critical thinking, right? This is going to be in high demand. We can get the machine to perform the boring task of the data input or tracking how users are interacting with our products, right? But we will need to have people on our team who can make inferences about the data. AI is the biggest trend to impact the industry in the next 5 years, and all that AI is powered by data. The ability to make connections between the data and the decisions that are made in a company will be crucial. So an example of a task that complements this skill at a very basic level is note-taking and analyzing information. So for example, think of, note-taking can be a form of data collection. And making decisions or analyzing those notes to make decisions on what to do next is an example of interpreting that data to make a decision. Other examples include companies who collect data about what their customers are buying or where their users are spending their time on their platform and make strategy decisions based off of analyzing this data. So the next hard skill I would like to cover is understanding and leveraging technology. So we can think of this as complex problem solving. This skill ties into the idea that we need to view technology as something that provides a helping hand in our work environments. When I refer to leveraging technology, think in the terms of tools you can use online or offline to make your technology workflow easier. For example, a communications channel by the name of Slack. I'm sure a lot of people here have heard of Slack. A popular communication channels among organizations where people can, people can form group chats. Other users can search chats, create dedicated groups where people can share resources or ask questions. So Slack is a tool, and companies have adopted Slack to streamline their communication service. So this is what I mean by leveraging technology. So they're leveraging this tool, a communications platform, to make the overall communication in their company more streamlined. Another tool we use in our company is Trello for like task management. It's you can follow like tasks that you need to get completed, and maybe have other team members and they can move around parts of the tasks that get completed so you can keep track of where certain tasks are. Especially if you're hiring people that are from overseas, right? They can log in from their computer from India, they can go to Trello, they can see where the task is, and then you can see on your end what's getting done and what's not. So coding is another big hard skill that's really popular nowadays. We think that in the future, companies will probably be looking for employees with at least a basic technical understanding. That's pretty straightforward. So this comes as an obvious hard skill. They'll have plenty of opportunity in the future. Most companies being built today utilize some form of technology, whether their product is tech-based or they use some sort of online tool to make their labels or ship their products, inventory, logistic tools. So all these tools are created with code, right? We're seeing a trend here in coding boot camps and vocational schools. We have some here in LA. Maybe some of you have heard of them, such as General Assembly or Coding Dojo. Lambda School is another popular one where you can take a coding course and you don't have to pay any tuition until you land your first job. This is a trend we'll see in the next 5 years, and at some point companies, again, will probably require a basic technical understanding. New media literacy. So new media literacy is the ability to critically assess and develop content using the forms of media to deliver messages to targeted audiences. So you can think of this as like content creation or marketing, the ability to analyze which channels work best depending on the market you're targeting. Technology is shifting how people consume content, right, and make purchase decisions. So this assumption is limiting the target market reach of businesses. Smartphone users will grow to 2.5 billion by this year, which means that there are more eyeballs scrolling through smartphones rather than computer screens. So we need to understand the different channels that are available to reach customers. There's probably more channels that are going to be, and when I say channels, I mean apps, right? Avenues in which people consume content, and different age demographics spend their time on different channels or different apps, right? So if you work for a company and they're targeting seniors, you're probably not going to advertise to those seniors via Instagram, right? You're probably going to use Facebook or some other social app or channel that your demographic uses. So the ability to understand which channels fit which target market is important. That's valuable to companies. So this type of knowledge and capacity to understand, you can put a plan together, right? You can create content and deploy strategies through these channels. This will be a future trend. So this also ties into content creation. People who love design and to create things. Right now, I think there is a trend also in vocational, like user design, creating user experience design with like apps and websites. Like there's actually a science behind what makes a good user design. The ability to create original content, whether that's pictures or graphics for organizations that encompasses a brand. Storytelling for a product or brand is really important. Writing articles with new insights and different perspectives. Humans draw from their own experiences and emotions to bring things to life. This is how we connect your stories and relating to each other. So creating something original will also be in very high demand. And it is a great opportunity for entrepreneurs who enjoy freelance projects. So another hard skill that I don't think will ever go away is selling, which ties into many of the soft skills we covered, such as empathy or intuition, even new media literacy, right? With selling, you have to create original content, whether you're selling something online or in person, you have to be able to connect and communicate with that person. Selling, I feel, is one of those taboo topics where people have this disdain for selling. They envision someone maybe going door to sell a vacuum, or somebody that annoys people as they walk into a grocery store. But let's try to break down what selling is and what selling means. Selling is a form of persuasion, right? So we learn to sell ourselves from others from when we're children. If you think back to when you were a child, or maybe you had a child, if a child wants a cookie, they will come up with every reason in the book on why it's a good idea to give them a cookie. Any excuse that they can come up with. It hasn't changed much now that we're adults. Every time we walk out of our houses, we're selling ourselves to the world, right? especially people who work in the startup world or who own their own businesses, they do freelance work. You really have no idea where your next customer is going to come from, or your next investor. I don't know if you have a startup and you're raising funds. So there's this movement towards owning your own business, and it's really important to sell the best version of yourself every day. There are courses, of course, and books you can read on tactics on how to close the sale and stuff. But the very beginning of selling will start with you and how you sell yourself to stay relevant in this economy, right? So let's recap some hard skills. It was interpreting data to make decisions, understanding and leveraging technology, coding, new media literacy, content creation, and sales. Wow, I went through that quick. Okay, so now that we understand where the workforce is going and what sort of skills that we will be needed to lead organizations of tomorrow, I think it's important we start to think about the sorts of skills that you personally are interested in and where they fit in the skills that we need for the next generation. I would encourage many of you to look into vocational courses. You can take some workshops, some half-day courses. I know General Assembly offers a few here in downtown and in Santa Monica. And maybe they pique your interest into doing, a course in data science or user design or coding. So the skills needed for the next generation of jobs will be at the intersection of where machines can help us streamline workflows and remove tasks that are boring and dangerous, and where human intellect, imagination, vision, and